The Clemson Tigers have seemingly fallen from the heights we saw them reach under the likes of Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. Will they be able to return to glory in 2024? Let's look into it. So, the strengths of this team are definitely on the defensive side of the ball, specifically in the D line and on the linebacking core. But so on that D line, you're going to have TJ Parker and Peter Woods as sophomores, who are the headliners, but also a guy like Vic Burley, who's going to be a redshirt freshman and was a 5-star recruit. I think someone to look for as a breakout candidate. But with Peter Woods and TJ Parker there, you expect this to be one of the best defensive lines in the country and most likely the best defensive line in the ACC. Then getting into that linebacker core, Barrett Carter returns for his senior season, and he definitely has the potential to be a first-team All-American. He's one of the best linebackers in the country. Then Wade Woodaz at middle linebacker is also very good and back as a junior. But you also bring in true freshman Sammy Brown, 5-star recruit, and could definitely have an impact as a freshman, as Clemson tends to have true freshmen make an impact a lot of the time. Now getting into the weaknesses, you move back to the offensive side of the ball here, and you look mainly at quarterback and skill positions. Cade Klubnik's definitely a really talented guy. At one point, or when he was recruited to Clemson, I believe he was the top quarterback recruit, according to 24/7 Sports. Um, but last year, he didn't necessarily show all the potential that people thought he had, and he didn't live up to all the hype people thought he had, I guess what I mean. So, in a second year under the Garrett Riley system, will he be able to take a leap, and could quarterback turn from one of the weaker points on the team to a strength of this team? If he can, then Clemson could potentially be a national title threat and definitely an ACC title threat. If not, you could see another fringe like 8, 9, 10 win season and still be good, but not as good as they were when they had those star quarterbacks. Then skill positions. I think this is an area that's improving for Clemson, but still not another area that's declined from when they were at their peak. Now, Phil Maffa should be very good at running back, and I do think wide receivers improving. 2 5-star freshmen in Bryant Wesco and TJ Moore come in and I think inject a lot of offensive firepower into the wide receiver group. And I think there's other young guys, including Antonio Williams, who can improve, and this could be the start of Clemson's a revival of their great wide receiver cores that they've had before. Getting into the game-by-game predictions, I do believe that Clemson's going to improve a lot offensively this year, but I don't think we'll see it all week one, especially against a team as good as the Georgia Bulldogs, as talented as the Georgia Bulldogs. I think they're too good defensively, too talented across the board, and I think Clemson's going to lose a week one neutral site game in Atlanta against Georgia. Basically a road game. And Georgia, like I said, most talented team in the country, probably the best coach in the country right now, and I think there's too much for Clemson. And then a game that you definitely can't overlook, Appalachian State at home in Clemson. I do think you win. You are more talented. I think you're a better team across the board, and you're at home. You should win, but you can just never count out App State, right? Now, you get that first bye week. Typically, a bye week this early is not something I would like, but because it comes after one really tough game and then another, probably I would say a tricky game, I don't mind the bye week coming this early, especially because your next game is another really tough game. But because you get the bye week and you're rested after a tough two game start, you're at home. I think you're able to beat a really good NC State team this year. I think your D-line can limit, or I think your defense overall can limit what I think will be a pretty explosive offense for NC State. And I think it'll be a tight game, but at home I think Clemson gets the win. And I also think you beat Stanford. Stanford I think is going to be one of the bottom teams in the ACC this year, moving in from the Pac-12. I think they can improve, but they're definitely not on Clemson's level. Then another really tough game. So in this 5-week start, Clemson's going to have at least 3, I think, really hard games. So of those 3, I think your season kind of hinges on, do you go 1-2? Do you go 2-1? I don't really see 3-0. I don't really see 0-3. I think it's going to be one of those other ones. And I feel most confident about Clemson winning the NC State game and losing the Georgia game. And this is one that I think kind of is just in the balance. And I think what kind of did it for me, because Florida State is at home, but I think Florida State not quite as good as last year. Clemson improved from last year, and I felt like last year Clemson probably should have beat Florida State, but Florida State just had more big time playmakers and guys like Jared Verse making defensive plays, Keon Coleman making big plays at wide receiver. And I think this year Clemson has the big time playmakers that are going to get them the win. Now another road game, I think this is going to be closer than it should be, just because a pretty tough game against Florida State on the road, and you stay on the road. And I think this game is a lot closer than I would think it would be in a vacuum. I think Clemson escapes with a win and then also beats Virginia. Now, after your second bye week, I think it's a good spot for a bye because Louisville and Virginia Tech are your next two games. Another pretty difficult stretch. And overall, I just want to say, not a very easy schedule for Clemson. One of the harder schedules in the ACC, I think. But coming off the bye, I do think you beat Louisville. I like their quarterback, Tyler Shuck. Ja'Cory Brooks comes in there at wide receiver. The defense pretty good. Potential first-round pick on the D-line. But I do think Clemson's more talented. They're at home. They're well-rested and can win before a really tough game on the road in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech, at this point in the year, could have a pretty good record. This could potentially be maybe a college game day site. Who knows? But it should be a really good environment, and I think a really good game. Ultimately, I think Clemson's D-line contains Virginia Tech's ground game enough, including Kyron Jones at quarterback. And I don't think he's able to make quite enough plays through the air to defeat Clemson. I think the offense will be too limited by Clemson's defense. I think Clemson gets another really big win. Then a second road game against Pitt. Like Wake Forest, maybe this is a trap, but I think Pitt will really struggle on offense against Clemson in a way Wake Forest I don't think necessarily will. Because if Clemson plays bad against Wake Forest, I do think they have more weapons to cause some problems for Clemson's defense. Pittsburgh, I don't see that. And the Citadel should be an easy win. And then your last game is in rivalry week against your rival, the South Carolina Gamecocks. I do see Clemson getting a win here. I think it'll be pretty tough. I think this will be South Carolina's potentially fighting for bowl eligibility here. I think they're playing some of their best ball this season. I think Lenore Sellers probably he's playing his best ball this season. The team overall, I think, is probably peaking right about now, and this will be as tough a time to play them as throughout the year. And although I don't think their record might be that good at this point of the year, I do think they'll be a good team at this point of the year. And I think it'll be a hard-fought Clemson win to finish the season 11-1. All right, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to check out my other videos on other teams' season predictions for 2024, as well as my full-length videos for entire conference predictions and playoff predictions coming soon. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.